This documentary aims to explore the relationship between technological advancement and the achievement of utopia according to various political ideologies throughout time. We'll explore leftist positions, fascism, the libertarian view, and the religious fundamentalist view of technology to show how differing ideologies approach the role of technology in
The
achieving their
earliest roots of
utopian
leftist
vision.
utopian vision is underlying throughout the Republic, but Plato's just city is communistic, egalitarian, and committed to justice. Another early example of a communalist vision is Thomas More's Utopia. More's somewhat satirical approach to the good place denounces private property while advocating an almost communistic position towards land and power, which is somewhat ironic for the Lord High Chancellor of England. However, More's Utopia builds upon the common man's dream of cocaine, where the rivers are broad and fine, of oil, milk, and honey, and of wine. Every man may drink his fill and needn't sweat to pay the bill.
Robert Owen's New Lanark textile mill built upon prior utopias through his promise of a revolution of the human mind on the banks of the Scottish River Clyde. Owen refused to employ young children, limited the hours of work, provided free housing, free education, and Britain's first infant school. New Lanark's existence relied on the power of its watermills. Owen attempted to find a balance between efficiency and healthy valued workers. This commitment was only possible because of the technological advances of the Industrial Revolution, the watermill, the printing press, education, urbanisation, and much more. Contrary to this, the Luddites resented the process of industrialization and urbanization. For the Luddites, new technologies created suffering, hardship, and exploitation for the new urban worker. Rather than living a simplistic life on the common land, the worker was instead free to be exploited in the name of profit. Luddites resented the new machines, depriving them of independent artisanal work, instead forced to accept starvation wages and mass unemployment. In the late 18th and early 19th century, thousands of workers rioted across the United Kingdom, smashing the new technological instruments and bringing the English language the famous word Luddite. In 1848, the Communist Manifesto cried out "Workers of the world unite," and the belief that socialism could only be achieved from below by the worker. Arguing for the principles of workers' self-emancipation and democracy, Marx and Engels believed that only the working classes could liberate themselves, not through education nor through the kindness of moralist individuals like Robert Owen. Later, Marx would go on to define the means of production as the activity of people, the subject of work, and the instruments of work. Therefore, the means of production are the space, raw materials, technology, and the instruments of production required. For Marx, technology is vital in the process of history as the productive forces of large industry depend on science and technology, while the productive forces themselves, science and technology, are related to the development of the material production, or the profit. Nevertheless, Marx's process of history is dependent not upon the feature of technology, but rather upon the feature of human characteristics. For Marx, technology, while liberating, is only liberating when the worker controls and owns the means of production. When technology does enter this historical process in a meaningful manner, just as the printing press did, the press becomes a vital cog in increasing the capital accumulation process already taking place. Therefore, if the printing press isn't controlled by the workers, it is simply another instrument of exploitation and alienation for the worker, far from liberating. Social ecologist Murray Bookchin states that post-industrial countries have the potential to become post-scarcity societies with the fulfillment of the social and cultural potentialities latent in the technology of abundance already present. We should utilize our expanded productions made possible by technology and switch from the pursuit of profit to the desire of ecological sustainability. Bookchin's utopia consists of directly democratic polities anchored in loosely confederated assemblies, which seek both the abandonment of the nation-state and of hierarchy. For Bookchin, liberatory technologies offer humanity a means out of capitalism and ecological destruction. We should seek creative urban technology, creative urban ecology, expanding the realms of freedom, self-management, and socio-technical change. Bookchin also argues for a shift in production. We should no longer focus on producing for profit, but rather for community, all of which is now possible thanks to technological advancements. The influence of Bookchin can be seen meters away from the front lines in Riyadh, Syria, where the imprisoned leader Öcalan and the Kurdish people have committed to the pursuit of a democratic ecological society. Recently, Aram Bastani's fully automated luxury communism puts forward a post-scarcity approach towards utopia and technology. Bastani argues that new technology should liberate us from work and climate crises. Automation, rather than undermining an economy built on full employment, is instead of the path towards a world of liberty, luxury, and happiness for everyone. Bastani argues that technological advance will have reduced the value of commodities towards zero. Improvements in renewable energies will make fossil fuels a thing of the past. New horizons beckon. Bastani's position is summarized nicely here.
Do you intend to abolish first-class rail travel, as some reports have been...
We will abolish second-class rail travel. I think all people are first-class. Don't you?
A bit more round this way, please.
The term fascism is derived from the Italian word fascismo, which defines as bundles of sticks. This creates an image of togetherness and coincides with the need to group and prioritize the need of the nation first and foremost. However, in history, this initial view of national pride has been taken further through the manipulation of scientific technology such as phrenology, but also recent developments in artificial intelligence, which can either be seen as positively aiding society.
See something, I'm giving up on you.
Or creating an issue where harmful ideological sentiments are encoded into automated systems. All of this has been used to achieve a certain utopia, which differs depending on the context. Contextually, the study of phrenology has its roots in the 19th century European thought that has drawn a monopoly of power and knowledge as it is seen as the known hub of technological discovery. In addition, the idea that European superiority over the lesser races created a scientific justification for anti-Semitic and racist actions, specifically in Nazi Germany. Technology and science legitimized the genocide of undesired people, and it is estimated that 17 million people died as a result of the Holocaust. And this was all to purify a society to fit the goals and needs of the ethnically German, Aryan people.
Fundamentalism, by definition, is a non-secular political and philosophical ideology describing the strict adherence and literal interpretation to and of religious scripture, predominantly in those of Protestant Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Islam, among others. Whereas the concept of utopia generally dispels dystopia. In apocalyptic thought, dystopia such as hell, Armageddon, and tribulation are generally presented as an imperative that must precede any form of utopia, such as heaven or paradise, in religious fundamentalism. Fundamentalist dystopia is that which would be described as a totalitarian regime featuring two figures in positions of total power. One common correlation in religious fundamentalism regarding utopian dystopia is that of the expectation of a messiah utopia and an anti-messiah dystopia. For instance, Christianity has Christ as the messiah, the antichrist as the anti-messiah. Islam has the al-Mahdi as their messiah, and the al-Masih and the Ajal as their anti-messiah. Buddhism also has messiah and utopian connotations in the awaiting of the matriarch, the enlightened figure, as well as Hinduism with the Kalki. Technological dystopia in the context of fundamentalism. The Reformation was a period which stands as a definitive age in human history and evolution. It gave spread to the ideas of fundamentalism, utopia, unachievable without technological advancement. For instance, the invention of the technological printing press in the 16th century served as the first form of mass media and stood at the heart of the Reformation movement. The revolutionary program came to rest in an established religion, such as a pamphlet of church ordinance, whilst new Protestant institutions persisted. Scholars who have written on technological dystopia and the Reformation include Stephen Osmont, Brand, Moyler, who spoke about the Reformation, saying without the printing press, there would have been no Reformation. At the advent of the modern age and preceding social media, the development of television has given way to platforms wholly dedicated to religion and the spreading of fundamentalist ideals. Global intercession has given way for the fundamentalism to remain a consistent philosophy in politics and political science. Many major popes, imams, the Dalai Lama, among other spiritual figures, hold reverence among many governments and world leaders today as spiritually enlightened figures and authorities of counsel.
Libertarians view the internet as the technological evolution of the telephone, which in itself is a technological evolution of the telegraph. The telegraph itself is an evolution of postal carriers, who themselves represent the evolution of the private courier. For libertarians, all technologies that allow individuals to communicate with one another at a distance, whether on one side of the world or as another, acts as a key means towards the path of liberty.
The number you have reached has been disconnected.
Technology allows us to define and expand what individuals can do, which IEL defined as that which defines the practical boundaries of an individual's liberty. For IEL, technological advance can expand the scope of these boundaries, as technology is often liberty enhancing. In memory, the creation of Bitcoin represented potential liberation for many, many libertarians.
How does Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a breakthrough in information theory that allows, without reference to trusted third parties, people outside the internet, to conduct provable transactions, time-stamped transactions that can't be changed. And
can't be faked, can't
be faked, can't be duplicated,
so
can't be...
Bitcoin is the currency the internet deserves.
It's the currency the internet deserves and needs.
And a way we have...
And I think that velocity rules, and velocity means we can rule, that Bitcoin as currency on the internet, peer-to-peer, managed by the participants in it, is the perfect libertarian solution to the money enigma.
You have been, a proselytizer for the idea that we've, continually, at least in 20th century terms, have gone from a totalitarian or a hierarchical society to a heterarchical society.
That's right.
So Bitcoin is kind of like
one of the
hierarchical, it's the ultimate. In a kind of Milton Friedman wet dream,